All right, episode 3 Slashdance. Let's discuss it. A lot happened, a lot of twists and turns, and spoiler discussion, of course. This was not a good episode for Ray. Not a good episode for him. Not a good episode for the memory of him and who he is as a person and his character, but obviously not such a great episode for his life either. I think having watched this episode now that we're into 3 episodes into this season, and I think it's out of 10, I think that person I talked to is right. This is all going to take place in one night, which is just, I don't know why that's so surprising to me, but it is. And I don't see anything to suggest the otherwise. So I think this is going to just be one long night. All right. So first thing Ray does here is he leaves, he's trying to leave everyone behind, and he goes and he's like, "Oh, we'll just split off in 4 different directions," which I guess technically is a good plan. Like, yeah, I mean, if that's what they would have done in Creepshow 2 when they were on the raft and everyone would have swam in one direction, yeah, more than likely only one of them would have got killed. Unless the thing was like really fast and it was like boom, boom, boom. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, ideally, at that point though, until the one chick gets eaten, they don't even know. So there'd have to be 3 of them to jump off and go in the opposite direction. But yeah, I mean, I get it, but this is purely speaking from a scared coward who is an every man's for himself scenario. And he's like, "I'm not dying." And it's like, well, your plan still has a 1 in 4 chance that you're dying. So let's not get too confident about that, but sticking together is your best option here. 4 versus 1? Absolutely. Versus 1 versus 1? Yeah, no. You go 4 versus 1 for sure. And then what happens? He runs in to the killer here, the Night Stalker who was attacking that cabin. We were waiting to see who the 2 attackers were because we didn't know. One of them being Richard Ramirez, who comes in after these guys. Ray is left behind, and Chet just can't do it. He can't bring it. He can't bring himself to leave Ray behind. So he goes back for him. Freaking, full on body checks this guy into the wall, and then they run off together. That should have been the perfect opportunity for Ray and Chet to just smash his face, just curb stomp his ass, just go full Gears of War, American History X, whatever is your preference on curb stomping. And just finish him right there and then. Especially, like, you're talking roided out Chet. He could have just grabbed that guy and just cracked his fucking head like a coconut, like that dude in Bloodsport. But yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. It's horror, it's tropes. This is what this season's all about. So they run off, and then they fall into a bungee pit, which he references First Blood. Little shout out to my reviews I just did over the Rambo franchise in the last week. And Chet takes a spike through the shoulder here. It's always the shoulder. Everyone always gets shot in the shoulder. The shoulder is just a very vulnerable area. And it's just like everything gravitates towards it. If you need a character to live, this is your area. This is your target area. It's always the shoulder. And then this is, we got a lot of twists and turns, as I said. So our big first twist here is that Ray has a very dark secret, which he tells to Chet because he thinks Chet's blacked out or dead or something, and he finds out that Chet is not and now knows his secret, but that he was in a fraternity. And during this pledge night, which I've never understood pledge nights, I would never do that shit. I've talked about that at length on my channel in all the sorority or fraternity movies that I've covered. I just don't get it. I don't know why you'd let anyone bully you to be your friend. Fuck that. Like, playful bullying's one thing, but the shit they make these guys do, out of control. Anyway, so one of these guys, one of the pledges, falls down the stairs, hits his head. Ray thinks he's dead. This is a guy who's supposed to be pre-med. Like, he talks something about doctoring and whatnot. He sucks. He fucking sucks at this, because just knocking yourself unconscious, I don't think your heartbeat would go so low that you couldn't feel a heart. Like, I could feel a fucking heartbeat. And I don't know much about medicine, so that's ridiculous. But anyways, he takes him out to a car. He's going to drive him over a cliff and make it look like he got killed in that way. And as he's pushing him down, the kid comes to, starts grabbing at him. Ray does try to save him, at least. I mean, that's a good thing that he does. Ray's just a coward. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. He's a bad guy just purely off of his cowardice. Like, everything in this episode is just like, there's no vindictive nature to Ray. He's just a full-blown coward who gets everyone killed around him. And so he pushes this guy off the cliff. The guy grabs his wrist. I thought at first he took some skin samples from under his nails, and they were going to get, like, skin mat. And then I was like, this is 84. I don't even think they'd have that. And then he says he grabbed my watch, and I was like, I didn't see that. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. So he's got it. And when the car goes off the cliff, it's not really all that, dramatic. It doesn't seem like it would have done much. So when he talks about how in the papers he found out that this car was found 3 days ago, after the length of time that it's been, 3 days ago they finally found the car. I mean, he didn't confirm that he was dead, but now that Ray is dead, I don't see any reason for that guy to be alive, to come back for vengeance or something. Ray's gone, so he must have actually died in that car. It just wasn't, I don't know, the way this car goes down and everything, it just looks like it's like rolling down the hill. It doesn't look all that bad, so, and it took them that long to find his car. Okay, anyway, but, so yeah, Ray deserves what's coming to him in this episode. And not only does he then leave Chet behind when he digs his way out of this hole, but then he runs off, and he also leaves Montana behind as well, which was a smart move on his part, but it doesn't turn out so well. But Montana obviously ends up being not what she appeared to be. But yeah, he leaves her ass behind too, takes off on the motorcycle, and then gets a full 13 game of death motorcycle decapitation. Boom. I loved that kill. Favorite kill of the episode by far, because this is really the only kill you see like actually taking place outside of like a lame throat slit or something. I mean, those two copycat guys, their deaths are both super lame. And then the real, like, no, I'm not putting up quotations, but the real Rita, her death shown off screen and then, or not shown, and then shown aftermath, lame. And lame. That was just a lame kill. I don't know, not a fan of that one. So the kills in this one were pretty lame, and for a slasher show on FX that can go pretty hard, R-rated with their stuff, I don't know what they're allowed to get away with gore-wise, but I've seen some pretty gnarly shit in this show. A few seasons back, I saw some pretty wild stuff. So, you know, in some, maybe like seasons 2 and I want to say 4, there was pretty gnarly kills. So their slasher season needs to up the kills for sure. It was good to have the prankster kids from Jingle Day or whatever, Mr. Jingle Day, come in for higher body count, but you bring them in and then their kills are just so generically lame. It's like, why bring in a bunch of new characters to kill off that really just have no purpose to be there other than to be more, you know, kills. It just doesn't make sense to me why they're so lame. So, I don't know. And it was really dark too, because I've had a hard time seeing some of the stuff out in the night there. So, I don't know. I was a little disappointed in that. And then, all right, so we find out that Rita, the nurse, isn't actually Rita the nurse. Rita the nurse is actually a little more like Dr. Sartan from Halloween 2018. This reminded me heavily of Dr. Sartan. I was like, oh, wow, I think they're just ripping a page straight out of the new Halloween movie, because this is a chick. Spoilers, I guess, for Halloween 2018 if you haven't seen it. So let's do that here right now. But I, the whole "I want to see you out in the wild. This is how I can study you." I mean, that's almost verbatim what Sartan says, and they always like Loomis is the only one that got to see him out in the wild, and then when he releases him, he's like wants to see what he does out there. He's kind of obsessed, and he wants to pit him against Laurie and all that. This feels exactly like that. And at first, I thought she was just there to like break him out as somebody he knew or something. But the more this episode went on, it was very much confirmed that she is an actual psychologist, that she's doing a Mindhunter type thing. She wants to interview and understand serial killers. She says she has her reasons. What those reasons are, I don't know if this is going to be like, oh, she came there to get revenge on somebody, so she unleashed this killer onto them. I doubt it. I think something obviously, probably happened to her when she was a kid, and she wants to make sense of it, or maybe she wants to understand herself better because she has tendencies. I have no idea. But yeah, to her releasing him because she wants to study him while he's out there killing to try to better understand killers. Because that's just it. In the Mindhunter and all those shows, they don't get to literally watch these people in the wild. They'll get to find the bodies. They're looking for a killer. They'll be able to look at the aftermath of what they did, but they'll never actually get to sit there and get a first-hand experience of what these guys are doing. I don't know really what she's expecting to gain from it. It's like he's gonna take a knife and shove it into people as they scream for help. Like, I can guess what they're doing. That doesn't really give me a great glimpse into their mind. So I'm not really sure what she's expecting to glean from this, but she's got her reasons, as she says. And then I think I already talked about a lot of this stuff. And yeah, I mean, Trevor and Xavier, so they end up coming back and getting Chet out of that hole there. So Chet really shows that he's a good guy in this, even though earlier in the season it kind of made it seem like he was going to be the dick, the roided out asshole who was like overly aggressive and whatnot. And they were trying to paint Ray like he was more the relationship, possible romance with Brooke there. And then they kind of just completely flip it here. Chet becomes the hero in that moment with Ray, and Ray's the total coward dick who leaves everyone behind. And then Trevor and Xavier. I mean, Trevor goes and knocks that guy in the pit. It doesn't end up being Mr. Jingles, but he didn't know that. He was doing what he thought best, and he was a fucking hero in that scenario. It just so happens to be unfortunate that it was the wrong guy, but that doesn't take away his intentions. And Xavier jumping down into that freaking pit of spikes. I don't know why when he got down there he didn't just kick all the spikes over so that he doesn't fall onto them, or no one else does as well. And then when Chet's down there and they're like trying to pull him out, like grab the back of it and yank it out of the ground. I mean, it's not secured by anything. I mean, it's just stuck into the ground. And then you can easily just like pull it out. I feel like when it was stuck in his shoulder, if he tried to move up, it would come out of the ground. It's not that deep in there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I mean, crawling out of there would be difficult with that huge wood piece sticking out of your arm. But I did like that they actually addressed, no, you need to keep the stick in there. That's what's keeping your blood in your body. That is correct. That is the thing to do. If you have something that sticks through your body and it's in you, don't yank it out like in the movies. Go to the hospital with it still in you. That is plugging up the hole so that blood won't come pouring out of it. So that's something that horror movies and other movies always get wrong. Don't do that. So I did actually like that was, but then he doesn't even listen to it anyway. So they pull it out anyways, but it was a live or die situation. So he's like, screw it, man, I gotta get out of this hole. But as I said, you could have yanked from the back and kept the stick in. So I don't know, doesn't matter. Did Mr. Jingles actually dig that hole in how much time? And he carved all those sticks and he shoved them in the ground and then he covered it up, and it was fast. Do you have any idea how long it would take? How much effort it would take to dig a hole that big? I mean, maybe that hole was already there, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm overthinking it, of course. And then, yeah, we find out Montana is actually in on it, and she is in a sexual relationship. I mean, she's pretty much, she's the slutty character. She's trying to fuck everybody, but Richard Ramirez seems to be her boyfriend, and she has a desire to kill Brooke. I will say, I mean, Brooke is supposed to be the main character of this. She has really nothing to do in this episode. She is almost completely unexplored. She is which is fine. I mean, there's plenty of characters to explore, and there's plenty of twists and turns, and there's stuff to keep you interested. But I was surprised at how little we got from Brooke in this episode. We'll hopefully get more from her. But really, all she does is she runs around for a little bit, then she gets drugged. And that's it. I mean, she doesn't really have anything to do in this episode. But yeah, so we will see what's going on with, I forgot what her name was, Rita's new name, her real name, some doctor or something. But yeah, we'll see what her plans are. I don't know why she drugged her. I don't know why she gave it away. But everyone else seems to be savvy to what's going on because they see the girl's name. It's Rita. Why is she tied up? That's the name of this other chick. She must not be who she says she is. So she's exposed by this point. But she kind of exposed herself early. And I guess it's because they were going to try to get away, right? Like she was like, all right, we're at the cars. She's going to try to go. There's just one of them. I can take her down now. Say someone knocked her out. Like, I don't know. But she kind of exposed herself a little early there. As far as where this next episode goes, I really have no idea when it comes to the motivations of Montana. Why she wants Brooks dead. I would assume this has something to do with the wedding. I would assume that Montana was dating the best man, or that was her brother, or something along those lines, and she's coming back at Brooke for revenge for what he did. But it just so happens she is dating Richard Ramirez of all fucking people. But it's film. Yeah. And we don't even see the chick who owns the whole camp in this episode at all. So I thought that was interesting as well. We thought she was going to be a big part of what's happening in this next bit of the story here. But what is it, like Margaret? Or is that right? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, nowhere to be found. Anyways, what did you guys think of this episode? I liked the twists and turns. I thought that it gave us a lot more to chew on and took some risks, killed Ray off, and injured Chet really hard, kind of flipped roles of characters. But I don't know. For some reason, I still felt like the episode was maybe a little too rushed. Like I felt like everything was just kind of blowing by, and it was even though there's a lot of twists, I felt like it was uneventful in places. I don't know. That's weird. Because now that I'm saying everything that happened, it's like, oh wow, a lot happened. But when I was watching it, it just felt like it was a really long, drawn out version of a slasher movie where they're just taking little bits that would usually be done in 10 minutes and stretching it out to 40 minutes. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm crazy. Anyways, it's late. I gotta go to bed. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Let me know what you think is gonna happen. And I'll see you next week. Adios.